The first and best thing to do, especially if you have had any hang-ups about this, is probably to free yourself of judgments, especially if those judgments are based on a lack of understanding. The following mess of words might not make any sense to you. If that's the case, the message is not for you. This is to amend and forbid and to speak directly to those who understand. You can do whatever the hell you want. The only people who are going to judge you are all of the else people in your life, not the people actually in your life, the else, those in the mainstream gushing acceptance and compassionate response to going-ons, stimulated conversations pressured into happening outside of the sphere of inter-endo socialization. It's an external subject being feedback piped into your brains and stomachs and culture. It is beginning to digest a post-reason, neo-post-internet age. Victimhood culture is real, and moral polarization policing is the inter-endo reactionary response to the cultural foie gras from compassionate message force feeding. Real life is not compassionate. Conversationally speaking, psychologically speaking, if there is something intrinsic about yourself, it is a you problem. Victimhood culture doesn't change that fact. If anything, it opens the pipelines for supports, which are shallow attempts at neurochemical balancing on best guess pharmaceuticals. For a time I thought perhaps posting content would become more trite as time goes on, and indeed that's true, I suppose, for the most part, yet I'm seeing it more and more every day that the words that are spoken, written, or posted stay exactly where they are, as if we've all thrown ballots in a box. We're all voting culturally about what matters, and the pervasive message being forced upon us all is as such that either this post-reason culture will be vomiting back up as social advocates and academics seek to champion and supervise the ignorance of a consumption-based, misery-based, force-fed culture-scape. All we have are pundits, products, and their commercials, and of course, as always, each other. We should all be caring more about each other. Potlucks, block parties, calling friends you haven't spoken to. What I mean to say is, put people and their best first. You and your own, yes, but think about other people too. If you find it too taxing to care about 5 people, do you not think that for some others, you'd be none too important either? Regardless of your station or position in life or the world or at large, if you find it reckless and uneconomical to help someone with food or rent to the tune of hundreds of dollars a month or anything else to that extent, then for a moment you too understand that perhaps not all people can be cared for or abided for. And the culture state's message is yes, you can be supported, but the truth is no. No, you cannot. Manitoba's second largest industry is the disabled. Carrying for, funding, running the infrastructure for disabled individuals, second largest to, of course, the Regional Health Authority. And while I'm not an expert or a doctor, or maybe to make sense to most folks most days, my studies on complex systems and feedback loops, maybe they're not the most succinct. If health is the largest industry, why is disability the second? Speaking from experience, it's because yes, supports are there, but not really in the right places. And yes, funding is there, but not exactly enough without short-serving something else. I've written an entire essay some years ago calling it an inverse feedback loop, or true economical cultural recourse. Basically, if you're slipping into the cracks, you're just going to always slip. That's just how things are. If you want more, you need to work literally 200% or more harder. At least 16 hours more a week toward your goals, or at least 10 hours a week toward a long-standing project. And that kind of keep busy, work hard identity is fading away. Identity as a whole is fading away to judgments, to what others think and feel and not as they actually are, to how others speak about things instead of how it actually happened. Driving an economy of cursor clicks and internet ads instead of driving an economy of interpersonal success. People you can directly interact with, you should probably be interacting with. Because the artifices of our last 20 years of multimedia consumption are following golems and reactionary automatons. They're presiding over our lives, and their screaming is telling people to return to their homes and stay calm. Just go to work, pay your bills, take care of your family, and don't ever think about other people, because you should be barely able to take care of yourself. What will be done to them, or has been done to them? Never think about death, always consume media, food, money. The love you give away is the only love you keep. Remember that when you live and laugh and love. We do not get to take today into tomorrow. We do not get the freedom of artistic expression when we must be silent or be expelled from our homes. We are all born free and in chains, asserting ourselves does well by ourselves. And in some small parts, perhaps to others. However, ultimately, if your ends are not also serving the ends of others, whose ends do they really serve? What are you consuming? What is consuming you? And if that cold beer was not brewed by your own hands, then whose hands? Whose ends does it really serve? And if you buy a car or go to work, then whose ends do those serve? Yours? Because that one camping trip? We're all cogs and machines. You can feel pride for it, or you can kill others in the machine's gears. Do you really return to work and turn the crank? People go in, ground meat comes out, bon appetit, and happy hunting. And if your reply is get help, well fuck you. You don't know me well enough to be on a friend list, and obviously want to put your pathetic bullshit and judgment before other people. Someone other than yourself and your own judgments. My judgment of anyone who comes at this with snide, snickering, bitching, moaning judgments doesn't for a second have a question before feeling offended. Get a clue? That's exactly what I'm trying to address, and that mentality is literally destroying lives the world over, and the answer is a culture that talks about care and inclusion, but alienates the interpersonal aspects that count the most. Marijuana, Netflix, inactivity, bastardization of lowest common denominator feedback, 75,000 unemployed by the end of year, estimated 300,000 unemployed by 2025. The impending crash of the fuel refining market. You want to do something? Work hard. Endeavor to keep shit together, but also aim for something. Not something you buy, not a trip. Make a change in your life and the lives of others. Consider goals beyond stuff and things. And leave a comment with any questions or concerns. This post may very well be deleted at some point. Like it was all a dream. Oof.